Hello, Saubana. Super good morning to see you all. Unable to hear me. Is that so? Let me know in the chat box if you can hear me clearly. Saubana, Puja, my weekly charger. That's so cute. Hey, that's a lovely name for the Insta Live, weekly charger. Thank you for that. Good morning, ma'am. Good morning, Rama. Good morning, Monica, Saubana. You can hear me clearly? Okay, that's fabulous. All right. I'm looking for some answers from you today. Okay, done. Please ask the questions. I'll be happy to help. Yes, absolutely. Very, very good morning, Shivam. Dranohya, blissful life. I'm struggling with names clearly today. Sam by Alsona. Babe. Love. Ritu Jain 2022. How to increase waiting patience. The higher your faith in the divine, the higher your ability to wait patiently. So I have a concept in my life called divine speed. Okay, and divine delay, and I use these two a lot. Whenever in my life I was expecting something to happen and it doesn't happen in time, I always say there is divine delay happening, which means God needs me to reorganize something to match my alignment to be able to receive whatever it is that I'm waiting for. So sometimes I'll just be like, okay, what could it be? Could it be me getting detached to the idea because I'm way too attached? Could it be just me praying a little more? Maybe it could be me, doing some activity. So it all, for me, I normally just go back to growing my heart to the size of the thing that I'm expecting. Okay, so that's one. And the other is also, which I call divine speed, which means I really honor the fact that if anything is not happening according to my speed, it's happening according to God's speed, and God's speed, God knows better, and I always feel like sometimes when we want to receive something, our vessel is not big enough to receive. So if you're holding a bowl and God wants to put rain, you're going to only collect so little. So he's saying that, increase the size of your bowl so that when I can give you properly. So a lot of times I just feel like something better has to come there for the delay. And these are all different things I say to myself to make myself be able to wait in patience. And I can tell you with all the work that I do that patiently waiting is an art by itself. I feel like a lot of us need to not do more, but actually do less. And that is very, very hard because we tend to, when things are not happening, we think we have to do more. Sometimes all we have to do is sit in waiting. And my suggestion is that if you really want to sit in waiting and use that time, use it for visualization. Use your imagination to really believe it's happening, Like couple of months ago, I wanted to pick up a property. And I was okay, like from January, I had been telling my husband, I want to buy. And then when May, my birthday came, I said, Godji, I need you to make it happen this month. I had patiently waiting for 3-4 months. And then I said, you know what, Godji, you need to send it this month. So what I did was, in my habit tracker, I just wrote, remind Puneet to go looking for properties in the morning. Follow up with Puneet every evening on whether he went and what did he see. And honestly speaking, for 7 days in May, I just did that. And by the 8th day, Puneet had found something for me that I could pick up. And so sometimes the only thing I had to do was follow up a little more closely with the one that I needed to work with. So look at all of what I have said and see what is it you need in your life. Is it divine speed? Is it divine delay? Is it more faith in God? Is it that doing less or, actually just tracking or, having to do a little more? All of these answers will help, or just sit and visualize it coming. Those 7 days as I was asking Puneet to do it, every day I would imagine him going, oh my God, this is the perfect property for Puja. This is exactly what she has been asking for. And so, that was something I was visualizing, and literally the property I landed up attracting was ideal to everything that I wanted. So it couldn't get better. So I want every one of you to know this, that sometimes so from January I had been waiting. So that divine delay actually worked for me, because then when God sent me, he sent me the exact thing rather than a compromise. Yeah. Can you give me some energy? You spend the next 1 hour with me, I can assure you the one thing you'll take away from the Insta Live is energy. Priya, one thing I look for every week is this live. Oh, that is so sweet of you. Thank you. God bless you. Gulnigar Sheikh, can you help me with how to manifest faster? The faster you want to manifest, the more detached you need to be. So this is actually an oxymoron, because the truth is that if we get too attached to what we want, a lot of times, you know what I make people do? I make them do all of what the steps are of manifestation and then hide that book in the drawer. And I say, now don't look at it, let it come into your life at universe's speed. So anytime when somebody is using the word faster, I feel like there's an urgency and a attachment to the manifestation. Now, the more the urgency, the further away the manifestation goes. So to go faster, you have to actually go reverse in attachment. You have to let the thing fly. Okay, you have to let your vision or your desires fly so that the universe can conspire and bring it back to you. The more tightly you hold on to it, the more chances are. So one of the sentences I always recommend to manifest anything faster is this or something better. Whatever it is you want to manifest, say this or something better. And when you start to use sentences like this, if you are not able to say this or something better because you want this only, not anything better, then you should know there's an attachment problem there. Yeah? Good morning, good morning, good morning. I'm very depressed about searching for a new job. My suggestion would be get very excited about searching for a new job, because the energy with which you're trying to attract, depression actually has a repulsive energy. The chances of when you're trying to attract in depression is going to be that the only kind of jobs that are going to come to you are the ones that will further create depression in you. So you want to start to get excited. My suggestion would be list out everything you would like in a job. I want you to be like, okay, I would love for it to be 9 to 5. I would love for it to be Monday to Friday. I would love to have fabulous colleagues. I would love to have a boss that supports and understands me. I'd love to have this in my salary. I would love to have this in my perks. I would love to have, and list that out, and now start to look at who you are to what you want. Is it a match? And if you can grow your personality, your skill set and your willingness, both, your will and your skill. Will is your enthusiasm and skill is your competency. When these two come together, oh, wow, that magic then only happens, you know. Yesterday I joined Bhagavad Gita classes, and yesterday was the first class, and they had spoken about this whole skill and will in the session, and I found it so beautiful when they said that, you know, you can either be like Bhishma Pitama, who had the skill. He was actually the best archer, but his will was not there. He didn't really want to participate in the big war, right? And so his will was not there. So there are a lot of people in this world who have a lot of talent, a lot of skill, but that will is not there. These people often will be depressed because they're not using the potential, because they've got the skill set, but either they are lazy or they're not willing, or their surrounding is not supporting them. And then there are people like Bhim, okay, which he spoke so sweetly, so nicely rather. Bhim was very, very like his desire to fight this war. He had like proper goals, you know, that I want to kill Dushasan, I want to do this, I want to fight with Duryodhan, I want to this. And he had like this, he was so clear, so passionate that he worked on his skill set to make it to the level of his will. Okay, so these are the people who are the go-getters of the world. Their skill set is not so great, but they are willing to work at it. So if your passion is greater than your skill set, over time you will learn everything that you need to, and you will become a rock star. You know, when I started out, my father at one point very sweetly said, I'm, Puja, so pleasantly surprised with you doing this work, because I never thought you were so great in communication or good in English, or, you know, he meant it like a compliment, but in my head I was thinking, really? And then I feel like what I had was willingness. I did not have the talent. I did not have the skill set. I was not the brightest child in school. I was not the smartest kid in the block. Nothing was extraordinary. The only thing I know I always had was this energy and desire. I always say this morning I was telling my mom, I said, you know what? I'm a better student than I'm a teacher, and that's what makes me the kind of teacher I am. And so I'm going to ask you to just work on your passion and energy towards finding this job. Change your energy towards the job. I'm not joking. Over the years, your skill set will also come. People with high energy put in the effort to match their will to their skill at some point. So it was such a lovely point that I learned yesterday that I'm getting to share with all of you today. Though I did tell the teacher yesterday, no, I'm joining these classes just for myself. It is not to spread the message, but clearly, when you hear something good, you just can't keep it inside of you. It's like for me especially, I think there is a need to want to tell everyone what I'm learning. Invincible Priya 2.0, how can one go for creating one own brand? So, Invincible Priya, one of the things that I'm extremely passionate about has always been brand building. And I feel like if I had to give you a sense of what is a brand, okay? So the most important part of a brand is not the logo, it's not the aesthetics, it's not the styling. To me, it is your reputation. What do people say about you is what your brand stands for. So if somebody had to ask me a definition of what is a brand, it is your reputation in the market. Now, brand is when you start to consciously design your own reputation. Do you want to be what? So a beautiful way to start your brand is to ask yourself, how would you like to be described? What would you like people to say about you? Like, I'll tell you, for me, people will often say high energy. People will often say loving, compassionate, caring, one of these words. And people will often say insightful, knowledgeable, those kind of words. Okay, so these are the three things. I like to throw in fun also. I like to throw in a little bit of humor, a little bit of fun, because it's already such a serious topic. So that's a personal word I like to throw in. But if I can get described by these 3-4 words, I know I've built my brand correctly, because this is my value system. This is who I am. And an authentic brand is the most powerful brand according to me. So that is why I always say, copy my knowledge, but don't copy my brand. Because when you'll copy my brand, you'll become inauthentic to yourself. Sometimes, I'll see people copying my PPT. Even the butterfly will be on that same right-hand corner. I said, usko left pe dal do na. Utna to kar lo. Knowledge copy karo, but not branding. Branding should always be authentic to you. Who are you as a person? If you can put that on paper and start to build your brand on your own qualities, like how you see Sister Shivani. You see that calm, you see that serenity, you see that ethereal energy, you see that purity, the white clothes, all of that is so visible. She's built her brand on who she is, right? When you see Sadhguru, you see this mystical man, over the top, so excellent in his fluency in English. I mean, I just love the way he speaks. And the enigma that he's created in his clothes and in his style, it is so interesting. So like that, if you actually study different brands, you'll start to see that the best brands are the ones that are closest to the personal person that is building that brand. So if you want to really create your brand, I would suggest first do this exercise and then start to look at how would I like to communicate this to the world. So, okay, so let's say if I say compassion is one of my brand, pillars, then in my work, so every single message that goes out from my office, I tell my girls, you write out the message and then add and infuse compassion into it. I want emojis put, I want love put. If you see Gary Vee as a brand, he's extremely abusive, but he carries it with so much aplomb. Like, just see him. He's like, if you remove the F word from his language, half of his power will go away, because he's speaking to that very young audience for who the F word is not like, hi, abuse kar raha. It is like part of their daily conversation, right? So I feel like we all have to look at it, and then we have to see like, where can we infuse it? So my customer care, I will tell my girls, say yes, then come back and ask me how we will do it. Okay, because every single person in my tribe should feel my love. They should be able to experience that, yeah, when we are with Puja, we can never feel alone again. It feels like everybody is there for us. That's the whole energy. So that's my compassion, let's say. Then insightfulness. I try my level best that I go and study from all the places all over the world, so that I'm bringing in the latest information on whatever's happening in quantum physics or anything I teach. What are the facts behind it? What's the science behind it? What's the art behind it? I try to combine. So, you know what? So my insightfulness, that's what I'm constantly working on. My compassion, I'm constantly working on. My fun element, how can we make this more fun? If you join some of my classes, you'll see we'll always start with dance. If you join my Insta Live, you'll see we'll always start with music. Why? Because I want you to get into that energy of high energy and fun. Both come together, right? So can you see how specifically I'm designing the brand? Now, these are just tips I'm giving you. What I would highly recommend is brand is one thing, build by yourself. Which are your favorite colors? What are the colors that resonate with you? What are those? What is your, what is your style? My style of talking is to empower. I want every single person that comes for my sessions, any session, they should be able to have enough energy at the end of the session that should want them to move into action. They should get restless having to be lazy. So I'm infusing all of that energy, correct? So I'm again giving you my example because I know my brand best, but you can look at every brand and you'll be able to see what's the energy. You go to a mystical man or to anybody who's a little more spiritual as a guru, you'll see there'll be a sense of inner peace you will experience when you come away. My mother-in-law who's currently following a Guruji in Delhi, I can see the amount of gratitude and inner peace he's leaving her with. He's not even alive, but she follows him and he's got a beautiful tribe. But you can tell that that's what he's built his brand on and gone, right? So I just believe that everybody needs to build their brand on their own authentic self. So I hope this was able to help. You can clearly see I'm super passionate about brand building, something that I help a lot of my own coaches to do. And I do believe that the more you know yourself, the better you'll build your brand. Uma Basu, help me. I am not able to leave tea habit. Help me, please. Oh, so sweet. So Uma Basu, you have to understand what is an addiction. Okay? So addictions are normally, whenever somebody says I'm not able to, it is serving a purpose. Till the time it is serving the purpose, you're not going to be able to leave it. You have to replace whatever the purpose it is serving with something else, so that you can feel like, yeah, okay, so let's say you had to create so right now Uma Basu is a tea drinker. But let's say Uma Basu decides that, I want to run the marathon. And Uma Basu every day visualizes running the marathon. Uma Basu gets a lot of praise for running 3 kilometers in the first go or 6 kilometers in the first go. And people are like applauding you and you're getting that admiration and you're getting that, exercise that you're loving, and it's creating all of those dopamine things. And what happens eventually is Uma Basu creates a new identity of a marathon runner, and she lets go of this tea drinking Uma Basu who tends to sit and maybe, I'm just giving a random example, not that all tea drinkers are gossipy, but I'm a tea drinker. As you can see, cheers. So you know what? You have to start to look at what's this new identity that you can create. Whenever I have to leave something that I'm totally in love with, I have to first disconnect with the pleasure it gives me and start to concentrate on the pain of what it does for me. And then I have to replace that. Okay, so why I drink tea is that it gives me a stopgap between my classes to just sit in self-reflection. Now, if I have to leave tea, I have to come up with a new plan around how am I going to receive my self-reflection, because how will I take rest? Rest is my connection to my tea is my rest. It's my self-reflection. It is my me time on my sofa on one corner. So these are all the things my tea actually gives me. And when you replace that, you can start to, so if let's say I want to stop drinking tea, the first thing I need to stop doing is sitting on that corner, because right now my body has memory, and the memory it has is the minute I sit on that corner, I need a hot drink. Okay. Now I was able to go from milk and sugar tea to black tea. How was I able to do that? Okay, I just need a hot drink. What I'm drinking, I can work with. Okay, so earlier on, I used to love biscuits and I used to dip my biscuits. First, I stopped the biscuits, then I stopped the milk, then I stopped the sugar, and currently it's just black tea, which doesn't break your intermittent fasting. So fortunately for me, this has worked. But I've had to build a new identity for myself, that you know what, Puja, if you start to drinking black tea, you will get hydrated, because in your classes also you can have tea, you can have that light coffee. I have a very light coffee, and to every tea and coffee, have a glass of water with it. If you go to Turkey or if you go to any of these places, because they understand these things can dehydrate, they will put that cup and all of that next to it, a water glass and everything. So start to build a new version of yourself, Uma, who wants to be a better version of herself, and write out your goals and write out your dreams, and know that there are some things right now in your life that are there because there's nothing else to feel joyful about. But when you start to, Dr. D. Martini speaks this in one of the most beautiful ways. He says, our value systems, when they are not being met in our life, we tend to numb our emotions by depending on things. Okay, that means there is some emotion that needed healing that we haven't attended to. So we are just finding an easier escape route to depend on something, so that we don't have to think about the real issues of life. So I'd love for you to start to look at where and what is your tea drinking habit giving you, and start to look at how can you replace that. What else can you do in your life? Okay, because there are two ways always to get your dopamine hit. Either you start to work towards it, or you start to find an escape route. So let me give you an example. Let's say I am someone who's very keen on building a company. Okay, now either I'll start building the company and all my actions will slowly remove all the negative things, because I'm going towards a purpose. My soul wanted this, and it's getting its highest form of remuneration through me walking this path. But let's say I wanted to build a company, but I didn't, for whatever reason. My relatives didn't allow, my husband was not supportive, I had small children. So what my soul wanted to do, I'm not doing. Then what do I start to do? I start to fill up that need that my soul had to develop the company with things that are possible in my environment. Okay, I can't do that, but at least I can sit and drink tea, I can chat with my mother, I can gossip with my friends, I can go out on Saturday nights, and we start to fill up our life with either purpose or distractions. Tea is just one of your distractions, my darling, and the more you understand that these are all distractions which are taking you away from your big life, okay? Whenever we are not able to live, anytime I see someone out of sync with their alignment in life, I know they are not living their highest purpose. And when we are not living our highest purpose, when we are not in our highest values, we will go off to substitute it with the distractions of life. And what do I mean by distractions of life? Instant pleasure-giving items are all distractions. So in scrolling on Instagram for hours, any sort of addiction, smoking, drinking, drugs, tea, coffee, all of these are just we replacing the distractions of some sort of disalignment, or is there a word like that? Unalignment or disalignment, whatever it is, yeah? So God bless you. I hope something you got out of it. There's a lovely book by James Clear called The Atomic Habits. You can actually read that, because he speaks about the 4-step process of leaving any addiction. And I think but for me, it's always, I know whenever in my life I have an addiction, it just means I've gone away from my highest purpose. And I immediately, what I try to do is for 3 months, leave that, because it puts me back into my purpose. So see what's your highest purpose and walk towards that. You'll automatically see your tea drinking habit going away. One is to attack the tea drinking habit. One is to live a life so superior that that tea drinking habit becomes useless or meaningless to you. Neha Karan 86. What to do after 8 sessions get over with your clients? For me, they get results when the sessions are on, but after a few days, they get back to their original for one-to-one clients. Neha Karan, you can come up with what I call the maintenance package. So 8 sessions over 8 weeks, and then you can give them another 8 sessions over 8 months, or 4 sessions over 4 months. So this is called the maintenance package. It's the same price, but much longer period. Okay, where you take them through the consistency building. I always say courage and clarity will come from the 8 weeks, but consistency comes only over time. So you can call it the consistency package, you can call it the maintenance package. And what this will do is this will help the client to come back and realign every month, every month, every month. And for some people it works like magic, for some people it will fizzle out. Yeah. Sakshi 811, ma'am, how to say no to everyone without making them hurt? I'm on a diet and I can't say no for parties. Sakshi, you know, I had actually spoken about this in a couple of Insta lives ago, where I had said that I myself struggled with, trying to say no to people, because people in our culture tend to be very insistent unless you use the word mannat. So one of the things I've started to do is, if I really want to leave something, okay, my mannat is to myself. It's not to God, but it's a mannat to myself. The promises I make to myself are as important to me as the promises I make to God, right? So if you want to start to really be able to keep your word, start, because I've seen in India especially, our culture allows us to break the promises we make to ourselves, but we are very respectful of when someone says, nahi mere narate chal rahe hain, नहीं मेरे ट्यूसडे फास्ट चल रहे हैं, नहीं सावन का महीना चल रहा है, नहीं मेरे रोजे चल रहे हैं. You'll never see anyone insist when we make it a little more serious. So all sometimes we have to do is actually for ourselves become serious. We are not serious enough when the promises to ourselves, so people around us also don't take it seriously. Now whenever I'm doing something, I don't treat it as a diet. I treat it as a mannat to myself. So whenever somebody asks me, I say, nahi, mera to mannat hai. Oh, immediately no one will force suddenly. So see if you can come up with a word that people understand that you are serious about this, okay? Another thing, especially if you're going to parties, eat and go. So make sure that you are also in a place where you're not breaking it, because if they see you break it once also, darling, then you should be rest assured that they will make you break it every time. So it all depends on how serious you are. Like today, when I tell my friends I'm not drinking tonight, they're never even going to ask a second time, because they know there's no way you can make Puja drink, right? But if I gave in once, then you can be rest assured no one's taking me seriously for the second time. This is not just with ourselves. Our little 5-year-old knows this. You know, you tell your child, no TV today if you don't finish your food. At 5 o'clock, he'll come to check, Mom, can I please watch TV? And you say yes. That means you didn't keep your word for lunch. You'll see every day they'll come and do that to you, and you're thinking, my son doesn't listen to me. It's not that your son or your child doesn't listen to you. It is that you don't know how to keep your word. So you tell him that, you know what? No, now mom has said that you will get no TV today because you didn't finish your food. Tomorrow, make sure you finish your food so that mama can let you watch TV. In the meantime, come today, let's play board games. So, keeping your word is so important. If you had to ask me what is the difference between a goddess and an ordinary woman, something that I teach all the time, that's the difference, my darling. We who keep our word and people who don't keep their word. And it is so hard in the culture and the world we live in. It's accepted at a very deep level that the promises that you make to yourself are not important. So see how you can work with it. Yeah, darling? Amita Avasthi, how to deal with life where spouse himself is a disguised angel in life. Amita, one of the things I want you to know is for 90% of us, our spouse's job is to be a disguised angel. How does heaven choose our spouse? Do you know? So our soul asked in heaven, what is the lesson I need to learn? And when we are coming on earth, he literally decides, okay, so who are going to be the disguised angels and who are in the range of being a disguised angel in your life? Your parents, your in-laws, your spouse and your siblings and your children. So who are they? They're literally your immediate family. So pretty much everybody who talks about disguised angels in their life, people who trigger them, people who are toxic around them, will be from their immediate setup. So if your own spouse is your disguised angel, one of the things you have to see is what is it that he's trying to teach you? Is it patience you need to grow? Is it standing up for yourself? Is it being able to be in control of your own life? Is it becoming independent? Is it looking for wanting support? What is it that they are continuously fighting on? One of the things Puneet and I used to often fight on was money. His money language was chahiye kya? And my money language was if it exists to chahiye. So you can imagine we both were operating from two separate energies on money. So every time I would say ye and he would say, Chahiye kya? Do you really need it? In my head, I'm thinking, no, I won't die without it, but I do want it. And I operate from want energy. He operates from need energy. Completely different. So I knew the lesson for me is that I have to stop depending on him financially. I need to make my own money so that I can spend my money my way. It was a huge decision that I made at one point in my journey that, you know what, I don't want to ask him for money. We have such a beautiful marriage, but the minute money comes into the conversation, we tend to have issues with each other. And you remove the money conversation, we are literally like twins. So I realized that my lesson with my husband was money. Now for someone else, it could be something else. For someone else, it could be romance. For someone else, it could be attention. For someone else, it could be admiration. For someone else, it could be learning patience. For someone else, so our lessons, so you have to start to see what is the biggest topic that you tend to fight on. And you need courage to take that topic and make it yours. Okay, so Puneet and I are excellent at parenting our older one. Our older one, we are very, like, you know, when we speak to the older one, we both know how to guide him. The younger one, we tend to have clashes between us when we are guiding him. So at some point I said, Puneet, you back off, I will manage. And at some point he said, okay, now from you back off, I will manage. So that the child is not hearing two different opposing views, that he thinks we both are on the same page. So we literally had to, like, one person had to retreat and one person had to become a dominating parent, because I knew that at this point Puneet is more needed in that child's life, or this time I'm more needed in the child's life, because we couldn't see eye to eye on the same page, right? So all the reasons I'm going to share all of this with you is that to these situations, you can say, oh, but you know, Puneet's a disguised angel. Not true. He is a disguised angel because God wants us to come together to learn to collaborate, especially on the topics that we both don't have the same value system on. Can we come up with a strategy that works for both of us? When we were making this house, his aesthetics and my aesthetics are extremely different. Okay, I'm very practical in my aesthetics. He was more for the sake of decoration, right? So when he came from that energy, I came from that energy, I realized this is not working. So one of the things I said was, all bathrooms, all bedrooms I will do, main drawing room and TV room you do. Okay, now I compromised and adjusted with him, he compromised and adjusted with me. I'm not saying that my solutions are the best solutions, I'm just saying come up with something so that you both don't land up becoming each other's biggest enemies, right? So disguised angel is just you not having learnt how to be able to manage him, and he's not learned how to be able to manage you. And as you both learn to manage each other, you both will grow in your personalities and blossom like individual flowers. And the more you blossom on your own, the more fragrance will get passed on to one another. So I want you to stop depending and looking at him for your solutions and start to go, this is not working, I'm taking over. This is not working, you take over. Or see how you can make it work. And if some places there are situations where you just can't make it work, then I want you to know, do you have the courage to move to a person where things are compatible? Because I feel like too many women right now are over adjusting to a point where literally they have, the relationship is 10-90. Not even 20-80 or 30-70, it's 10-90. It's either his way or no other way. Now, if you're in a relationship like that, if you're married to a narcissist, if you're married to a toxic person and you're going to try to make things work out, he's not going to allow you. It's not going to work out for you. So you have to start to look at, okay, is this a reasonable man? Is he good? Is he good to his parents and his children, if not me? First, you have to figure it out, is he a reasonable man? A reasonable man eventually will see reason in your independence of taking over some of those topics. Rather, he will be relieved and happy. If he's an unreasonable man, the more control he loses over you, the more insecure he's going to start to get. So all of this, I mean, I can do, as you can see, I can do a separate 1 hour of just me talking about marriages and relationships and disguised angels, so I won't go any further, but you're getting the idea, right, my darling Amita? So see how you can use everything I've spoken and start to look at what are our problems and where can I start to take responsibility rather than being victim. Okay? Charu Panzal, what to do when the drama people often pull me down? I get disturbed a lot and then I don't want to do anything for myself. What to do? Charu, this is such a massive issue with so many of us, where we give away the remote control of our life to other people, where we give away all of our power to other people. It's like they will decide whether I am going to be capable or not. Now, for the longest time, I did this, that I allowed the drama people to put me completely off, and I could spend the whole day in my bedroom crying. Okay, I was that kind of person where I could cry the whole day. If Puneet fought with me and left, when he came back, I could start on the same energy, same note. Okay, now I want you to know one thing. It did nothing for me. You know, all of that power in the hands of the wrong people did nothing for me. And at one point I remember saying, neither are they happy, nor am I happy. Both of us are not happy. Here I've been trying so hard to please them. Nobody is getting pleased any which ways. At least if I am happy, there will be some benefit to the situation. So when I realized that I'm neither able to make them happy, nor am I happy, then what is this whole situation is wrong. So I changed the formula that first let me work on my own happiness. And for some time, I actually became selfish to be selfless later. And this initial selfishness actually really helped me, because I stopped saying that I'm going to allow them to be able to control me. And it took a lot of courage, it took a lot of power. But you know what, I started to think of this as, you know what, either I can keep explaining and justifying myself to the voices that are around me, or I can focus so strong on where I'm going that a time will come where the voices will automatically diminish, because I would have gone off to another level, off to another planet, and off to another vision, off to another future. And you know, that's pretty much where it all started to work out for me. So I'm going to recommend to you today, sit down and write, Charu, 1 year from now, what would you like your life to be? Okay, I used to speak a lot around sweet revenge. For me used to be that I don't want to say anything to you, my success will speak to you. That used to be my style of sweet revenge. Till lately, I have started to find myself a new version of sweet revenge. Sweet revenge is the day I can help the people who hate or have hurt me, because I no longer have nothing against them, because I have become the best version of myself. So see how you can use all of this, Charu, because drama people will constantly keep pulling you down, because when we are surrounded by people of drama, they neither want you to succeed, neither they want to succeed. And so what their job is to be the crab that keeps pulling the other crab from getting out of the bucket. Okay, now that you know that you can take your power back, you can take responsibility of your life, you can choose to say, you know what, for a couple of months, what you think of me is none of my business. Not my monkey, not my circus. They are doing the best with their best understanding. I am doing the best with my best understanding, my experiences, my limited knowledge, my this thing. And you know what? Hurt people. So maybe they're just hurting and they're removing it on me. I don't know. I'll come up with 1,000 sentences in my head of this kind where I'll justify their action, but not make it personal to me. I'll stop saying things like, oh, why are they doing this to me? Why do I always have to? Why for me do they be? You know, it's nothing personal. They are who they are. That's how they are. Right now, I'm their target, so I've gotten involved in the kitchen. When I won't be their target, someone else will get involved in the kitchen, correct? So I'm getting out of it. Let them find somebody new to attack or be with or do all of this nautanki and drama with. So see if you can start to disassociate with all of that we have gotten over attached with. I have spent years trying to convince people I'm a nice human being. And trust me, that's not how convincing happens. The only time they actually get convinced is when they see the world saying that about you. You know, your family is normally the last people to see your goodness. So just go out in the world. And I started to become so happy that, okay, even if nobody here understands me, at least they understand me. And you know, whatever the world understands me. And eventually, you know what, it all trickled behind. And then now I feel like everyone is so loving here. Everything changed when I stopped focusing on them and starting to not look for their approval, their acknowledgement, their praise, their admiration. And I went out in the world and found my own. I feel like it automatically came back. So see how you can use all of what I'm saying. Yeah, darling? Okay, let's go right to the bottom. Can you please save this live? Of course, every week we save the live, darling. Kirti Karachiwala, how to adjust to something I don't like and I have conveyed it clearly, still my husband does it what I don't want. So Kirti, I want you to understand there are two kinds of relationships. In one, in which we make requests, and in one in which we set boundaries. Boundaries come with consequences. Requests come with a little bit of softness and kindness. Okay. So if you are asking your husband for something clearly, but he's still not doing it, that means he has no consequences to face, which means he doesn't have any fears. He doesn't have any issues with you thinking that, why is he, if he's not doing it for me, it doesn't matter. So if there is no consequence, then he is right now in the patriarchal world, superior, higher, whatever word you want to use, which would be appropriate for you to know that there's no consequence. So you have to build your personality to a level where he should have some fear of losing you, some fear of disappointing you, some fear of, so that the relationship is on equal grounds. If it's not on equal grounds, the chances are you will keep nagging, begging, asking sweetly, sometimes badly, but he may not give it to you. So whenever I know I am in request stage with people who are higher in hierarchy, let's say I want something from my mother-in-law, or let's say I want something from my husband, and they're higher in hierarchy because he has to, let's say, spend the money on that thing, then I know that I'm requesting. When I'm requesting, I will request with a lot of love. If they give it, great. If they don't give it, it goes into my list of do-it-yourself puja. And so then, for me, I have to then come up with a strategy on how can I make myself strong enough, courageous enough, powerful enough that the next time I request for this, they'll do it. Or can I do it myself? This is not for them to handle. So we have to start to, and then when you become strong enough, then you can set boundaries. So if I tell my husband, sweetheart, I would like you to do dash. And if it is not done, darling, then I am going on my own. You're coming, great. If you're not coming, I'm going any which ways. Okay. So then he knows there's a consequence. Now, if he wants me to go alone, great. If he doesn't want me to go alone, he better do something about it. So whenever with our staff and with our children, we can set consequences. So therefore, boundaries work better. With people higher in hierarchy, it doesn't work. Okay. So you need to become that woman with that level of strength where you can set consequences with people even higher than you. When that starts to happen, you've grown. Okay. And then the thing is, the beauty is if they're higher in hierarchy and you've become strong, you don't even have to set consequences because they're aware. I remember once my husband turned around and said, Puja, when the first 5 years used to threaten you, leave me na, mujhe pata tha tu kahin nahi jane wali because तेरे पास कहीं जाने के लिए था ही नहीं. But today, if you ever say that you leave me, I know you will actually leave. So the threat has become real. So it was so interesting for him to say that because that's what I want to give you, Kirti, today. That start to notice that, currently what you're asking for, it's too inconvenient for him to give it to you. It's only in your benefit. There is no benefit for him. See if you can, in that situation, create a benefit that even he has. So if you do this, darling, when you're making requests, you should add in more love. So if you do this, darling, then for you, I can also do this. Because you're not in a position to negotiate, but you are in a position to love. So see if any of this helps you in making him do what it is you want him to do. Okay. Sometimes I just feel like everything starts with a strong no. And then it moves to a maybe, dekhenge, and then it takes time to reach a yes. A lot of times what I've seen women do in their relationships is that when they ask the first time, let's say I want to go to Maldives. And the first time I tell Puneet, take me to Maldives, he'll be like, abhi to Phuket gaye the, 6 senses, tu pagal hai kya? That's his first reaction to anything, let's say, right? And then I'm in my head thinking, video game, level 1 done. No aa gaya na, strong no aa gaya, ab dheere se. So agle mahine again I'll try and I'll be like, sweetheart, Sidhu J also going, this one is also going. It seems there are some great deals in Maldives. Do you want to even consider? He may land up saying, theek hai, dekhenge, abhi nahi, but December mein ja sakte hain. I've already got my level 2. Now when the first time he said, ke abhi to gaye the, kyun jana hai? Most women at that point will start to get into an argument. So when you hear your hard no and you get into an argument, now you've lost the battle before it even started. Your hard no, you should have known, was just you seeding the plant. You didn't need to get a yes. It was just you seeding. At the seeding level, they'll be like, are you crazy or what? Okay. Everything in your life, whenever you're telling your ideas first time to anybody, first accept that it's going to start with no, are you crazy, pagal hai, all of those. Starts with that. Eventually, you can work your way through. I have the most persistent mom-in-law and husband, and I watch them sometimes operate from taking people from the strongest no to a complete 100% yes. And they do it so naturally, they don't even know that they have this art. But looking at them do it, you know, when somebody says a strong no like that to me, I'll completely retreat कि यार इसको नहीं करना, मुझे नहीं force करना, करना है करो, नहीं करना मत करो. I'm that kind of person. Very respectful of people's no. Puneet's like, Puja, half the time people don't even know what they want till you explain it to them. So he is so comfortable with getting a hard no and then work his way to maybe yes, that now I'm also like, God, I think I give up too soon. So see, Kirti, how you can use this also. Okay, seeding is a beautiful way of learning the art of communication. Okay, let me go right to the bottom. We've already reached 10:47, my God. Renu Jacob, so sweetly, she's saying, if I sound sweet, it sounds fake. Don't know what to do. Renu, everything in the beginning, change in the beginning sounds fake. When you first time do your affirmations, they will sound fake. The first time you will visualize, it will sound fake. The first time you are extra sweet, it will sound fake. But you know what? You do it long enough, it becomes what I call your new normal. So when you're taking something, when you're taking a change from who you are to who you want to be, there is a period in between for a while that will feel fake to you, it will feel fake to the world. But you do it long enough, it becomes your new personality. I'll give you an example. So there was a time in my life where I wanted to grow in kindness. Now I'm the kind of person who's like a Delhi Punjabi के अच्छों के साथ बहुत अच्छा और गंदों के साथ फिर don't test me, I'm capable of what you're capable of, you know. That's my personality. But for a while I was like, you know what, Puja, God has been so kind to you. You've been so blessed that you need to stop being, you know, how will you be extraordinary if you are just how every human being is, good with good, bad with bad. And I started to pretend to be in my head Mother Teresa. So in every situation I would imagine, अगर Mother Teresa, अभी पूजा क्या करती इस situation में, उठ के अच्छे से सुना देती. Mother Teresa क्या करती, बैठ के smile करती, okay? फिर उनको प्यार से कुछ बोलती. And I would actually enact out being Mother Teresa in my, I would be role playing Mother Teresa. And I can tell you for the first 1 year, I was looking weird to people. Like people were like, इसको क्या हो गया, ये क्या खा के आई है, ये कौन से courses कर रही है कि ये इतनी अजीब सी हो गई है. But over the year, after a year or so, people started to ask me, Puja, how are you so sweet? How are you so kind? How are you so always so calm? How are you so something that was so unnatural to me became the new me. Now, I'm not saying I'm Mother Teresa level, but I think I've been able to adopt that little energy of kindness from her that now I use in every situation when something's going wrong between me and someone. I ask myself, how can I be kind? How can I just be kind in this situation? I don't feel the need to be right anymore. Okay, I just want to be kind. How can I be helpful? How can I show up where they feel that, oh wow, you know, she still did it for me, or something special they should feel, because I'll be kinder than most people. And if I die ever, I will die someday. So whenever I die, if people are able to say she was nice, she was kind, I feel like I would have lived my legacy. So it's just in the beginning so fake. Now it feels quite natural. I hope a day comes where kindness and me become synonymous words, you know, like Puja is synonymous hota hai? Nahi, sorry, jo bhi hota hai. Like, you know, we should be able to interchange it, yeah? Mr. Perfect, how to find the purpose of life, ma'am? Could you please help me with this? Mr. Perfect, one of the ways I love finding my purpose in life is to follow my joy. Okay, so things that give me joy, somewhere in that lives my passion. Things that I'm passionate about, somewhere in there lives my purpose. And life is like an onion, so you need to really, you know, unfold each layer for the next layer to become visible. So it's not like Mahatma Gandhi can sit on the sofa and say, what do I want to do in my life? Oh, I want to become a freedom fighter. I want to be the Mahatma of India. I want to be the reason why India will... No. The only thing he had joy for was for the truth. And truth, he liked fighting for justice. And at some point, his realization was, I want to become a lawyer and I want to fight for justice. And when he started to fight for justice, he went through an experience in Africa where he felt like, no, this is not the right way of how we are being treated by the Britishers. Not them, not us. He came back to India, and can you see how the unfolding happens over time? All he did was followed his joy, followed his passion. So I'd love to ask you, I started with I love reading. It became I love reading non-fiction books. It became I love reading self-development books. It became I want to start my own book club. It became, can you see how the onion kept getting peeled till a day came where Puneet was, I remember I was talking on the phone and he came home from work and he said, full day you're helping someone or the other, you should be a life coach. He said it so randomly, I didn't even know what life coach is. Counselor maybe he said, or life coach he said, I can't remember. He said, you should be a counselor. And in my head, I'm thinking, how come I never thought about that? And I'm messaging one of my friends from school that, you know what, I think I'm starting to feel like I'm very attracted to this whole counseling. She's like, Puja, what are you so surprised about? Remember in school, you were always the counselor. And now when I look back in 12th grade, I was literally the coach to my entire class at one point. It was that much of coaching I used to do. And I'm thinking, shit, it was right in front of me all this while and I never even saw it. So if you really want to start to live your passion, start to look at what are the things that give you joy, what are the things that make you feel happy. God has put joy and happiness in our desires and wants. And if you have absolutely no idea, sometimes I even go reverse and say, make a list of things that you don't want in your life and start to work on making sure. Like I remember at one point, I used to feel like there's no respect for me because I never went to college. I had my own complexes. I used to feel like, Puneet doesn't respect me. Maybe his family doesn't respect me. Maybe my friends don't respect me because I don't have an education. I was a nobody, right? And so I realized one of the things that I don't want is to remain a dumb person or an uneducated person. So in my topic, I went and became the most educated person in India. That's how much I have studied in this thing. Because so sometimes our joy can tell us what we need to find in our passion. Sometimes something that we are hating can drive us to the other side. So both ways you can start to look at, how you can work on yourself. And I do believe that, when we start to, even that negative fuel is actually very beautiful in the beginning. I remember at one point something happened and P said, no, I won't buy you this. That day something snapped and I said, you know what, I've got to be able to have my own money. And I till today say, thank you P for saying that to me, So like that, sometimes you have to go back and look at your life. When was the day you got the most hurt? Because transformation through hurt is actually the most permanent. So look at in your life how you can find your passion through all of the things that I'm saying. Then start to go and explore all that is coming to you. Don't sit on the sofa and keep thinking. You'll go from idea to idea to idea. I want you to actually literally go out and start to think, okay, start to explore. I went at one point, I wanted to be a makeup artist. I went and did 3 days in the leather show in Chennai and assisted a very famous makeup artist. In those 3 days, I realized this is not what I want to do. The timings of me being there and the timings of my children and husband being at home were the exact clash. And I realized my value system is first family, then work. So then it totally, I came back and after 3 days, I was like, ye to nahi karna. At least I understood ke ye nahi karna by doing it. So that is why first, finding clarity on what it is you want to do, then going and exploring. Once you find what it is really that you want to do, like let's say I found my coaching skills, then I said, okay, now where can I go and learn to become the best in the world? That's a very important question. You always want to strive for becoming the best. This ordinariness, 90% of the world lives there. So start asking yourself this question, how in my topic can I be the best? Who do I need to learn from? And then you need to invest time, money, effort, energy into it for a couple of years. It takes sometimes, I always say this, 700 days to 1,000 days to be able to become that bamboo that suddenly becomes, they used to say it takes 20 years to be an overnight success. Today I say, okay, it takes 2 years to be an overnight success because the generational gap has become much, much faster. What used to take 10 years gap now is a 2 years gap or less. So I do believe it takes 2 years to become that person that the world will start to notice and recognize you. So see how you can work with all of this. So first getting clarity, then starting to explore, then starting to learn, and the last one would be practice. So clarity, explore, learn, practice. Practice, 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 practice. So in 2 years, you become visible. In 10 years, you will become the master. You will become the authority. You will become the expert. Whenever somebody wants advice in that topic, you will become the industry leader. So at one point, you will be an expert. At one point, you will be the industry leader, the authority on that particular topic. And that's what I want all of you to aim for. Okay, whether it is in music or in dance or in leather industry or in makeup or in interiors or in 10 years of your life you give to any one thing, you will become the top of the pyramid. Correct or no? So the formula, clarity, oh, Shivani's already put it. You're so kind, Shivani. Clarity, explore, learn, practice. I assure you, your passion will then become your identity. And when your passion becomes your identity, there's a fulfillingness that gets replaced from that emptiness that a lot of us carry. That emptiness makes us hungry for looking for things that can fill us up and fill it up, and we fill it up with pleasure. When you start to fill it up with your life's purpose, the emptiness actually disappears. You need no one's approval, no one's admiration, no one's compliments, no one's, you stop being that beggar who's looking for importance in the world, because there's a certain amount of self-confidence that comes from becoming a master in your topic that starts to fill you up, where you know who you are. And when you know who you are and your divine connection is great, it's a different kind of journey you will go on. So blessings to everyone who's listening to all of this. I really hope that you're able to use everything that I've said today and make your life better, my sweetheart. So thank you so much for coming. In a moment, I am going to pose for you so that you can click your picture. You know about the challenge. If you don't know and you're new here for the first time, all you need to do is take my picture, share it on your story, put your biggest takeaway from today. What was that one thing that I said that you feel you can use in your life or it impacted you? And then just tag me, Puja_Puneet, so that I can share it on my stories. And that way you can actually win a book of mine called Unlocking the Golden Cage. So here I am posing for you. Yeah, works. Got it? Oh, I don't have any cards or books today. Unfortunately, we'll bring it next week. I put everything in my office thinking that I'm going to go every morning to the office. But today I woke up actually only I had a friend's birthday party yesterday. So I woke up only at 7. I was supposed to go to office. Didn't land up going to office. Decided to pull out my entire cupboard is right now on my bed. So spending the day clutter-freeing my cupboards, because I've been traveling a lot lately, so bringing all the new things, I'm dumping the new things because the old things there's no place to create. So today is my day to clean out my cupboards. Yeah, okay, I can still see a lot of questions coming in. I always feel so bad closing the room without answering everyone's questions, but as you can see, it's almost impossible to do so. So thank you so much for coming. God bless you all. Oh, today's winners, of course. These days I'm forgetting. So last week, the people who shared the story, let me just tell you who the winners of the week are. Okay, this week's winners who have won my book, Unlocking the Golden Cage, are Rhythm_Graceful_Flow, Sonali_Kachori, and Sparkling Shobha. So, Rhythm, Graceful Flow, Sonali, and Sparkling Shobha. Massive congratulations to each one of you. If you are in this room, so happy that you have shared your stories, and therefore I have shared it and you are the lucky winners. Of course, we had over 35 of you participating, so it was a massive participation. So for all of you who participated, thank you so much. When is date with Puja? Priyanka will definitely announce it soon. Let me see when I can make it happen. Yes. Thank you so much everyone for coming. Loads of love. Bye. Ciao.